I played the Division all the way from level 1 up to World Tier 5 in the endgame completely solo. In this video, I'm going to highlight my journey every step of the way, from missions to weapon upgrades and everything in between. I'll leave no stone unturned, so let's not waste any more time. It's the beginning of the game and we are just starting to learn exactly what's going on. There's been an outbreak, an epidemic that has caused literally all hell to break loose. People are getting sick and dying, and civilization as we know it is collapsing. The reason? Well, we're not too sure yet. All we know is that a deadly, contagious sickness has broken out during the holidays, and nothing has been the same since. There is no cure in sight, prisons are overrun, the military is unable to maintain control, and any sort of law and order is long gone. New York City is in total collapse. This dire situation activates us, and many others like us, otherwise known as the Division, a group of civilians who are called into action in scenarios where everything else has failed. Our duty? Well, to bring back some sort of law and order to what's become of New York. That's the setup, so let's get started, shall we? I get to customize my character a bit. It's nothing special, and some of these faces look downright terrifying, but nonetheless, I found one that'll do just fine. Add some sunglasses, and boom, I'm ready to bring the city back to its prime. I start out across the bridge in Brooklyn. This area serves as a tutorial. We get to learn the cover mechanics and test out some firepower. Nice. We also get to interact with ISAC, or the Intelligence System Analytic Computer. Sounds fancy, but it's basically a handy and all-encompassing service that helps Division agents get around the city, communicate with other agents, replay echoes, gather data, and so on. Eventually, I met the JTF, otherwise known as the Joint Task Force. This is a group made up of what's remaining of the US military, along with the local police force, firefighters, and the National Guard. They represent what's essentially a resistance group, so to speak, fighting against the different factions attempting to gain control or cause further chaos in the city. We also meet Fei Lao, another Division agent who's entering the city alongside us as part of the second wave of agents. Oh yeah, I should mention that we're not the first ones to go in. We'll find out exactly what happened to the first wave a little bit later on. We get to activate our first skill. I chose the mobile shield to start out. It seemed like it would fit my playstyle and I wasn't planning on sitting behind cover. We'll see how that works out. And we're off to complete our first set of side missions. For all the hype and hubbub about what's happening, starting out by completing some side missions like finding food supplies and saving civilians seems a bit subdued. But that's kind of what a Division agent does. I score my first kill, mark the supplies, and complete my first mission. Still not quite level 2 though. The second mission asks us to rescue some civilians. This is also an opportunity to understand how the game works at large. Go to a target location, complete an objective, and do the same thing for about 20 to 30 hours. In fairness though, the game is pretty damn fun, so I don't really have much of a problem with that. We rescue the hostages, and boom, we're level 2. We're still in the tutorial though and have one more side mission to complete before we hit up the main island. This time we're finding some morphine. These rioters pose very little threat and holding this point was easy enough. I would like to say that this is a sign of things to come, but that's not the case at all. The Division starts kicking my ass and simply does not stop. Anyway, we defend the point and make our way back to the safe house. These safe houses are a great place to shop with vendors and also serves as a great way to see other players. Yes, even today there are new players joining the Division like myself. It's always nice to see older games thriving. After checking in and updating the JTF officer, we complete the tutorial and hit level 3. Not bad, we seem to be progressing fairly quickly. We still have one more mission in Brooklyn however. This time around it's considered a main mission, not one of those time filler side missions. The police precinct is overrun. Rioters are attempting a siege, but thankfully we're close by. Eliminate some bad guys, free some hostages, and take out the leader of the rioters. Nice, we also get our first uncommon item for our effort. This particular mask gives us plus 3% increased kill experience. This property can roll on every item and it'll be key to help us level as quickly as possible. This marks the end of our time in Brooklyn. Leaving at level 3 is decent enough. Our transfer, however, is met with some real issues. The helicopter is shot down, and our companion Fei Lao is injured in the explosion, but thankfully a backup helicopter shows up. It's very convenient. We get a bit of tidbit of info on this helicopter ride. The first wave of Division agents are either all dead or missing in action. It's not good at all. After some dramatics, we finally made it to Manhattan and learned that the base of operations is located at the post office. This is where the good guys hang out. Basically, we upgrade our skills here, unlock new abilities, buy weapons and gear. Essentially, it's a hub that has anything and everything we can possibly need, and we'll be coming back time and time again. But first, we actually need to secure it. We hit level 4 by simply running around and discovering different districts as we make our way to the base of operations. Level 4 is important because it allows us to wield 2 primary weapons, opening up our builds and playstyles substantially. We make it to our destination, eliminate some bad guys, most notably this guy named Pool. He's what's considered a named enemy. In the division, these guys will often drop the best available loot. Unfortunately, we are too early on in the game right now, so his drop pool is pretty terrible. Faye gives us a small rundown about what this place is and what our goals are. Essentially, we want to establish 3 different wings: the medical wing, the tech wing, and the security wing. Bringing them back online will give us access to skills, talents, and perks. So let's get started, shall we? Main missions in this game have a level requirements, or should I say a suggested level. Basically, you should be within that level range if you plan on finishing a mission with little to no issues. This is easier said than done. You'll see what I mean soon enough. Let's head over to the Madison Field Hospital and bring back Jessica Candle, the leader of the medical wing and the person taking up the responsibility of slowing the outbreak and getting down to the root cause. As you might expect, we delete some bad guys on a basketball court and in the concession area. Eventually, we find a doctor, rescue her, and protect her as we make our way to the roof. This is basically the final fight of this particular mission, and like many that come after, there are at least 1 or 2 gold-plated enemies, signifying their power and telling us they're not to be taken lightly. Yeah, I died here a few times. In fact, I was here so long, it turned from day to night. Killing Hutch and wrapping up the mission takes us up to level 5. For our effort, we get some medical wing supplies. This is the primary currency used for upgrading and unlocking skills. You'll see what I mean shortly. Getting to level 5 allows us to equip not 1, but 2 skills, filling out our loadout a bit more. At this point, I basically have at least uncommon gear in all my slots. You'll see these level 30 items in my inventory, and to be completely honest, I have no clue how they got there, but I can't even use them. I did refuse to sell or destroy them because I really didn't want any sort of advantage. We get back to the base and unlock the medical wing. A quick convo with Jessica reveals that a man named Gordon Amherst may have something to do with the outbreak. That's all we know for now, but unlocking the medical wing gives us access to a bunch of things we can purchase. Each upgrade grants us a new active skill, talents, and perk as well. For my second skill, I chose the first aid ability. This helps us heal in a crunch. With the medical wing done, let's get the tech wing unlocked. To get that done, we need to head over to the subway, or basically what was once a subway that has now been turned into a massive morgue. In this mission, we face off against a new faction, the Cleaners. These guys are obsessed with purging the virus by any means necessary, and by any means being fire. They literally want to burn the virus away, regardless of the cost. These guys really like to close in on you and use their flamethrowers, but those same tanks that power their flamethrowers are also their weak points. Shoot at them and watch them explode. Our goal here is to save Paul Rhodes, an engineer who will help quite a bit in terms of tech upgrades and communications. This whole mission was pretty damn cool. A lot of the interior level design really brought the catastrophe of the epidemic to a much clearer picture. It's very morbid. Hundreds, if not thousands of bodies spilled into the subway. Anyway, this mission's final boss is this dude named Benchley. What a name. Benchley. We kill him with relative ease and rescue Rhodes. Just like that, we're at level 6. Let's head back to the base and see what Rhodes has to say. He quickly mentions something about the first wave of division agents and how disastrous things went. As we know, all the agents from the first wave are missing in action. That's enough out of Rhodes for now. Let's actually upgrade the tech wing. Upgrading the tech wing gives us access to our first talent. Each talent grants us some passive buff. These are hugely important when putting together a final build, but right now we don't have too much to choose from. In total, there are 4 talent slots. Similarly, there are also perks. Perks are also passive, but these often help by expanding your existing gear slots, granting more XP per kill, more grenades, medkits, and so on. You get the picture. So we got the medical wing and the tech wing unlocked. Let's get the security wing up and running as well. Most security missions will often involve the JTF. It's led by Roy Benitez. That's the man we're gonna go save, or at least assist. We head over to the Lincoln Tunnel and learn that the rioters have planted a bomb. We simply just need to defend the diffuser while they do their thing for 3 minutes. You've got to be kidding me. Well, I guess it's time to restart the timer. We finally made contact with Benitez, but things are looking dire. There's a huge assault taking place, and our abilities are clearly sorely needed. There's another leader here to take out. Good old Finch. Taking him out, unfortunately, isn't super rewarding, just some uncommon loot. This is one issue I had with the game and the unrewarding loot throughout the main story. It's also something I talk about in length in my retrospective here. Go and check that video out when you're done with this one. Back at the base, Benitez tells us that there's no way in or out the island. That really doesn't matter much to us. I figured we were stuck here for good anyways. Benitez gives us some pretty obvious information. Gangs, Rikers, and cleaners have taken over the streets. Thanks for the heads up, I really couldn't tell. So this sets up the rest of the game. Each wing we've unlocked has a series of 5 missions, each of which advances that particular wing's story. Doing so, we learn more about what took place, what's happening right now, and everything in between. Let's go ahead and officially unlock the security wing. Alright, we're all set. The map tells us a bunch of useful information. Each main mission has a level range that we should be in. Right now, the one we can probably successfully complete is the Hudson Refugee Camp. We've been level 6 for a bit now, but completing this mission will take us to level 7. This particular camp is filled with infected folk who don't really want to die. The cleaners, however, have caught wind of this, and remember, their goal is to eradicate the virus, so it doesn't really matter if someone is living or dead. Midway through this mission, we end up hitting level 7. Nice, I'll take it. The mission we're on is quite long. We've killed countless cleaners, but we still need to reach the crane controls. The cleaners are planning on dropping this massive tanker on the camp. They are nothing if not ambitious. The mission culminates with a fight against Martinez, the foreman of the cleaners apparently. He likes to set up these mini turrets all over the place. It's an ability we have access to as well, and it's funny how annoying it is to actually go up against. Anyway, he's dead. Let's move the damn tanker out of the way too. And I think we killed someone. Either way, we're halfway to level 8. Being level 7, the next logical mission to go on would be the Broadway Emporium. This particular store has been identified as the potential release site for the virus. Our job? We just need to find and secure some samples of the original virus on some cash. This area looks really nice. I just had to point that out. I mean, look at it. The store, of course, has been ravaged and looted. Hopefully what we need is still here. The cleaners are also making an appearance and for some reason setting fire to a Christmas tree as if the tree itself is infected. Anyway, we kill a ton of cleaners, we recover the money we're looking for, and face off against Kaczynski, another leader in the cleaners hierarchy. The boss fights against this particular faction have all been the same, but I can't complain too much because they're still engaging enough. Completing this mission shoots us all the way up to level 8 and almost halfway to level 9. That's what I like to see. Somehow, up to this point, these high-level named enemies are still only dropping greens. By now, I would have definitely expected to see at least one rare drop. God, this area just looks so good. Let's head back to the base, talk to Kendall, and see what we have for upgrades. Kendall tells us that she's halfway towards producing a vaccine based on the research and evidence we've gathered, or at least a blueprint for a vaccine. Sounds like great news. I head over to the computer and lock in some more upgrades and decide to start using the SVD as my secondary. I throw on some modifications to soup it up a bit as well. Right now, my gear is all uncommon. Hopefully we start seeing some blue or better drops soon. The medical wing upgrade we made gave us access to our first set of modifications. These augment the ability itself by changing its behavior, increasing its range, charges, and much more. Early on, a lot of the upgrades are survivability related, and it makes sense, especially if you're playing solo like me. The Division is not an easy game. You'll see what I mean soon enough. Crafting is also a massive part of keeping your gear up to date, and something I relied on heavily when the drops just weren't coming in. In order to craft, you need the materials associated with the item. I was getting pretty tired of my LMG, so I decided to craft a Scar L. Doing so gave me a bit more firepower that will go a long way. I also crafted a new vest to get my armor rating up a bit. Unfortunately, I lost the XP bonus, but I really needed to start lasting longer in these fights. Let's make sure to mod our scars so we can get back into action. The next mission had an enemy level of 10. I knew I wouldn't be able to handle this, so it was time to grind some encounters and side missions. After knocking out a few encounters, like this particular one where I restored the water supply, I hit level 9. This is a common loop you'll find yourself in. Main missions are demanding, and if you're not at a comfortable level, you'll find yourself dying over and over again. The grind in between the main missions is crucial in leveling both for your agent and your gear. Encounters always reward you with supplies for different wings. Aside from the main missions, this is the only other way to get wing supplies, so these encounters may seem optional, but if you really want all the upgrades, they're definitely necessary. The next mission is at level 10. This time we're taking on a security mission, so let's go and check it out. The cleaners have a napalm production site, granting them a near limitless supply for their flamethrowers and overall goal of simply just burning down New York City. The production site is very industrial, as you might expect, and our goal here is to destroy these giant tanks. Easy enough, right? I like this mission. It's just pure chaos and explosions just flying around everywhere. Anyway, I destroy all the tanks and head over to the fueling depot, kill off some more bad guys, specifically this annoying sniper dude, and power up the generators. We also need to start the detonator and defend the thing. As you might expect, this leads to a full-on assault from the cleaners. The mission, however, is not over. There are more tanks to destroy, 5 more to be exact. We also get to go up against Joe Farrow, the actual leader of the cleaners. This section is long and quite difficult. I died again and again. But what's that saying about persevering? I don't know, because I was ready to put the game down at this point. Eventually, Joe comes out of his little office and starts the boss fight. His long-range napalm is not easy to avoid, often leading me to running around frantically for cover. Finally, I kill the guy, and for my effort, I'm rewarded with 2 uncommon items. See what I mean about unrewarding loot? That's okay though, I know good things are coming my way. We make our escape and hit level 10. There it is, double digits. It just looks so beautiful. At this point, I was getting tired of my green loot. So I hit up the local vendor and bought myself a blue marksman rifle. Why not spoil myself a bit? I've been working pretty hard here. I was feeling pretty confident with my gear now, so seeing that the next main mission is level 12 really didn't bother me at all. The Times Square power relay mission falls under the tech side of things. That's right, we're heading to Times Square, baby. The Rikers are the problem here. We saw a bit of this faction early on in this video, but they'll become a reoccurring theme now that the cleaners are sort of taken care of. That doesn't mean the cleaners aren't here anymore, but we'll see a lot less of them going forward now that we've eliminated their leader, as far as the main story goes. Anyway, we made it to Times Square, which looked pretty nice. Our goal here is to take out some Rikers and replug some fuses. These sections where they have you slowly carrying fuse boxes are by far the worst. Total momentum killer and not fun at all. Thankfully, it's very rare to get this objective, so that's a good thing. Anyway, we placed the fuse in and now it's time for some defense. This is the last leg of the mission, so clearing these guys out is all we need to do. Things are progressing nicely. I feel like I'm doing some solid damage, and while I don't really have a build defined just yet, whatever I've scrapped together up to this point is somehow working. However, with the next mission being at level 14, things might start to get a bit shaky. But I wasn't ready to grind just yet. I figured it would be worth giving the mission a shot. Let's head over to Amherst's apartment. Well, this ended up going a lot worse than I even anticipated. The level requirements are no joke. I died over and over and over again, whether that be to the normal enemies or this big dude with a giant flamethrower. I thought I was done with these cleaners. Anyway, I was here for so long, I eventually hit level 12 from trying so much and killing so many enemies, so I'll take that as a positive. This ended up being one of the hardest missions because I was so stubborn and unwilling to quit and start over at a higher level. I spent over an hour on it. Each time I hit a checkpoint, it felt like a giant sigh of relief. But every subsequent section was a bit harder than the previous. Our goal in this mission is to extract some evidence from Amherst's apartment. After getting to the extraction section, things got increasingly hard. What's funny is, it really didn't need to be this way. For some reason, the idea of restarting was just something I was unwilling to consider. So I battled my way through. Then I ran into this dude named Rogan, whose sniper shots could put me down in a single hit depending on how much health I had. Yeah, I died. And I died a lot. However, as frustrating as the experience was, I extracted the evidence and killed the remaining bad guys, and in doing so, I finally made it to level 13. Completing the mission granted me a ton of XP. It also gave me my first few legit blue drops. An upgraded marksman rifle, among other items, was exactly what I needed. I also got a ton of medical supplies, allowing for more upgrades to be purchased. Sitting at level 13 and seeing that the next main mission was at 16, I knew this time around I was gonna go for a grind. I couldn't spend another hour on a single mission. So we head back to the base, make some upgrades, and knock out a bunch of side missions and encounters. Fighting an uphill battle just wasn't a smart way to play the game. Also, to be honest, the side missions grant you a ton of XP when completing them, so it wasn't like the grind for each level was unfair or a huge time sink. Things really felt reasonable. Eventually, I made it to the cusp of level 14, with the discovery of a new area granting me enough XP to cross that threshold. God, I love when that happens. Along the way, I unlocked a number of safe houses. Safe houses are extremely important in the division. If you die, you want to have a respawn point that is close to where you were, otherwise you'll have a long run ahead of you. Additionally, each safe house has a JTF officer who gives you a bunch of side missions and encounters within the area. These, as you might expect, are crucial for leveling. I didn't feel quite ready yet to take on the next main mission, so there was some more side missions to be done in my immediate future. I spent all of level 14 doing side missions only. It really didn't take as long as you would think. One last side mission to defend some supplies from the Rikers, and that was enough to push me to level 15. At this point, the blue drops were raining in, and my gear was getting better by the minute. This is what a looter shooter should feel like, but it took too long to get to this point in my opinion. Nonetheless, I figured now would be a good time as any to take a shot at the main mission. I equipped my newest gear and made sure to add my mods as well. The Police Academy mission was another tech wing mission, but our goal here was to investigate the transponder of a first wave division agent. We still don't really know what even happened to them. This mission also marks our first encounter with the LMB, also known as the Last Man Battalion, a paramilitary group that's attempting to take over New York City. What's interesting about them is how they fight. Their tactics are far more advanced than the Rikers and the Cleaners. They're more organized, they use nades more often, they attempt to flank you, and in general, fights with them are more tough. Faye thinks that this mission is a setup. Whoever it is likely planted the transponder as a way to pull us in. Could it possibly have been a rogue agent? We make it to the transponder, but we're quickly ambushed by the LMB. This leads to a section that I had a ton of trouble with. I just wasn't dishing out enough damage. To make matters worse, this is the first mission in which we encounter a rogue agent who goes by Scarecrow. I'd like to make fun of that name, but to be honest, I was getting my ass kicked over and over again. Yep, I have hit another wall. I just couldn't complete the mission. There are two possibilities for this. One, my gear was just bad. Two, I just suck at the game. For the sake of my ego, I'll go with number one. Well, it's time to grind again. I head back out to the streets of New York, and it's not long before I hit level 16 after completing some encounters. Thanks for not dropping anything, buddy. I head over to the local safe house to check out the vendor, and oh my god, it's the first purple I've ever seen. And it's out of my budget. At this point, I felt a bit stuck. None of my gear felt powerful or good enough to tackle the mission again. Everything I wanted was too expensive. I set out and did a few more side missions to get some new gear and also made some money to buy a new attachment that gave me increased crit damage. I finally decided to head back to the police academy to see if I can actually take down Scarecrow. This went about as chaotically as it possibly could. I was still too weak to withstand any incoming damage, causing me to fall back any time that I got shot. This was done over and over and over again. Like, just look at how silly this fight ends up being. There's no way the developers intended for this to happen, but here we are. Running and gunning, hiding, and regaining health to re-engage. I was not about to go grind again, so this is what we're left with. Despite how it looks, I was able to kill Scarecrow and complete the mission. It ain't pretty, but it's done. Thanks for the blues, buddy. Completing the mission takes us to level 17. We're inching ever so closer to level 30. We're also making some real good progress through the main story. Let's pause for a quick summary. We know the Cleaners were trying to eradicate the virus and we've taken out their leader, Joe Farrow, but that doesn't mean they're gone. The Rikers are a group of ex-prisoners who escaped prison and are wreaking havoc in their own way. We don't know much about their leadership yet, but we do have a name. Lorraine Barrett. We've run into the LMB for the first time and they've proven to be our toughest opponent. We've also fought our first rogue agent. This tells us quite a bit. And it's sad to hear that members of the division would turn on each other for one reason or another. Finally, we know Amherst is responsible for the virus, though at this point we're unsure of his motive. Alright, we got another mission on the horizon, this time the Warren Gate power plant. It's been taken over by Rikers who are attempting to sabotage the city's supply. I decided to knock out a few side missions on my way there, the first being a bounty and the second being an uplink repair. Together, we're able to get to level 18. Alright, let's continue our trip to the power plant. As we know, the power plant is overrun by Rikers. Inside, we see absolute chaos. The Rikers simply just want to blow everything up. This mission ends up setting up one of the longest gauntlets I've ever had to overcome. For the most part, the mission is easy, but the final stretch is one of the hardest. After disarming the explosives, we get into our first ever timed mission. The safety valves need to be turned back down as the Rikers are attempting to overload them. This all needs to be done before the timer expires. Thankfully, the devs gave us more than enough time, but seeing that timer popped up definitely kicks up the anxiety a bit. The control room section is where things get rough. Essentially, it's a wave-based section with each wave throwing 4 to 6 enemies at you at varying difficulties. I died quite a few times to the point where I decided to turn on matchmaking in hopes that someone would just join and help me. That help never came, hence the title of this video. Eventually, I made it to the boss, Keller. I think he got stuck on something because he wouldn't move from this one spot, but it did make things easier on me, I guess. Thanks for the blues, buddy. In the control room, there's an echo, one that gives us a better idea of what has transpired and who Lorraine Barrett is. She is the leader of the Rikers. She helped the convicts escape and brought them to the heart of the city. Their goal, as we know, is just to create pure chaos. Anyway, now I'm level 19. Back at the base, I decided to use this fancy new AR and slapped an extended mag on it. This will do for now. We're almost at level 20, a huge milestone. The next mission is conveniently also at level 20, so let's make our way over to the Lexington Event Center. To make sure I was nice and ready, I knocked out a few more side missions. We're already halfway through level 19, so why not? It finally felt like I was dishing out some legit damage. Some side missions are done in parts. Each part is done in a certain location. These take quite a bit of time, but the XP reward is worth it. I checked back in with the JTF officer at the local safe house and hit level 20. We're 2/3 to our final goal. Level 30 and the end game is right around the corner. I just have to mention how crazy it is that we've yet to see a purple drop. Is this not a looter shooter? Where's the loot? I'm kidding, I'm just venting some frustration. I know the loot comes in bunches soon enough. It's time to actually get into our next main mission, the Lexington Event Center. This mission is all about taking down Lorraine Barrett. We know a bit about her already, and the most important fact is that she is the leader of the Rikers. The actual level design for this particular mission is by far one of my favorite. It literally looks like something out of Gotham. Even the Rikers faction kind of reminds me of that. Eventually, the mission takes us up to a rooftop, our mission being to rescue some hostages and protect a member of the JTF while we take out some of Lorraine's lieutenants. Because my gear at this point is getting better, the fights are slowly getting easier. What used to take me 5 minutes is now taking closer to 2. The final section of this mission takes place in the main hall. The difficulty definitely ramps up with 2 of these machine gun dudes, and it took me a few tries to take them out. Of course, our target here is Lorraine, so these dudes are just kinda in the way right now. The fight against Lorraine isn't too demanding. Having a marksman rifle makes a lot of these fights pretty easy, but you still need to maintain awareness as the game does throw ads at you, and Lorraine could have definitely played quarterback for the Jets with the kind of accuracy she throws her nades with. We eventually take her down. Once again, the reward is blue, still waiting on that first natural purple drop. On the bright side, we do hit level 21. I head back to the base of operations, purchase a few upgrades in each wing, and equip some of the upgraded gear that was dropped. We're getting pretty close to our goal of level 30. Right now, I'm sitting in a pretty nice place. Being level 21 means I should be able to comfortably knock out the next main mission, Rooftop Comm Relay. This mission asks us to join up with the JTF and repair some broadcast dishes. Some of these missions tend to be pretty random. While they're all an effort to reestablish some form of order in New York City, this mission about fixing some dishes this late in the game feels like quite the filler. But hey, I'm just here for the loot anyway. On my way to the mission, I decided to knock out some side missions. My favorite of the bunch ended up being these bounties. You get to fight 3 hard enemies in hopes for some decent drops. I like a good challenge, so I'll head on over and see what I can do. Eventually, I found the bounty myself. Killing him drops me a few guns and gear, none of which are unfortunately worth equipping. At least we get some nice XP. At this point, I figured I should just get to level 22, so I knocked out another side mission, defended some supplies, and boom, we're level 22. I feel pretty comfy now, so let's head over to the rooftop mission. We're doing this in order to get ears on what the LMB is up to. We're facing off against the Rikers again. Even though we eliminated their leader, just like the cleaners, that doesn't mean they're down and out for good. After reaching the antenna and finding the JTF engineer, our goal is simple: protect him while he does his thing. This is another wave-based section that takes a bit of time. Failure means starting all over, and I really didn't want to die. We take on another named enemy here. This time, their name is Glass. Yes, Glass. I don't know who was responsible for naming characters at Ubisoft, but they clearly love one-syllable names. My biggest issue at this point is my lackluster health pool. Anytime I get out of cover, I nearly die. As my playthrough went on, my main focus was getting my stamina stat up, since it's the sole measure of how much damage one can withstand. Anyway, we kill Glass and this other dude, some more blue drops come our way, but the antenna is finally fixed. Completing this mission puts us right on the cusp of level 23. I mean, look at the XP bar, we cannot be any closer. The next main mission is at level 24, so let's head over to the base of operations and get some upgrades. Every time I've chosen one of these wing upgrades, I've also gotten some passive perks and some talents that I can choose from. I don't really have a build yet because I still feel like I was scrapping together my loot, though at this point, I've unlocked quite a bit of these perks. Anyway, let's check in with our boy Rhodes for a second because he's pissed. He tells us about how the division is bad for the country, granting normal civilians unchecked power, and that same power leading to some of them going rogue. Essentially, he hates the division from what it seems and what they stand for, but he's willing to maintain a working relationship for the greater good. I respect it. Our next mission, as we know, is sitting at level 24. Right now, I'm still a bit too weak, so let's go ahead and find the safe house in the area and complete some side missions. After completing this encounter, I hit level 23. Level 23 is all about doing more side missions to get to 24. Remember, that's where I need to be to comfortably do the next mission, so I won't bore you too long with this grind. 3 side missions later, and boom, 24. Now we're talking. By the way, at this point, I was rocking a purple LMG, but for the life of me, I can't find the footage of me looting it. So unfortunately, we can't celebrate that moment together like I had hoped. It's finally time to get things rolling on the next mission. The next few security missions will be up against the LMB. Pop quiz, do you remember what that stands for? Congrats if you do, because it's the Last Man Battalion. Anyway, these guys are legit. The game introduces these automated turrets that will shoot at you if you're out of cover, as if the game wasn't hard enough. Thankfully, we can disable these with ease. Our goal here is to take out the LMB's communication hub. This would really put a dent in their whole operation. It's not easy though. The LMB is tough to go up against. Anyway, we find the computer that we need to hack into after clearing out a ton of soldiers. Not bad, but we still have more left to do. The game then throws a 3-minute survival section at us. We need to stay alive until the JTF arrives. Honestly, it's insane how useless the JTF is. Like, why on earth were they not on this mission with me to begin with? And why does it take them so long to get here? Anyway, the timer is up and we need to kill the one named enemy that comes out the woodworks, Sergeant King. Please have a good drop for me, bro. I'm getting desperate here. And it's blue. Regardless, the mission is done, and we got quite a bit of XP in the process. 25 is right around the corner. So we've met Joe Farrow, leader of the Cleaners, and we've met Lorraine Bennett, leader of the Rikers. So who is running the LMB? Well, it's this dude. Colonel Bliss. This guy basically has formed his own military group to bring his own version of law and order to New York City. The division, of course, is not a fan. Anyway, I want to get to level 25, so let's knock out this bounty real quick. Captain Craig, meet your maker. Oh, also, thanks for the blues, and hello, level 25. Believe it or not, we only have 2 more main missions, the Russian consulate and the Grand Central Station. Level-wise, we would knock the Grand Central Station mission out first, but hold up, the vendor has a really nice looking marksman rifle, and after selling every last possession I had, I was able to get my hands on it. This is going to be so good for the remainder of the game, right? I mean, just look at how much of an upgrade it is. I simply must slap a few mods on it. Let's test this bad boy out. Yep, that'll do. I make my way over to Grand Central Station with a vote of new confidence. Unfortunately, my health pool still is quite the problem. I just can't seem to survive any firefights. Well, it's time to grind, boys. I'll come back here when I'm level 26. By now, you know the drill. Do some bounties, knock out some side missions, and boom. 26. Back to Grand Central Station we go, and while it's not the easiest mission, I do slowly but surely make my way through. This mission is like assaulting an army base. It's basically the last stand of the LMB. After fighting these dudes in the subway, we eventually make it to the control room. This is where we can disable those automated turrets that have been giving everyone trouble. With the turrets now disabled, we head back out on the streets and continue our lengthy assault. Just need to take out one last sniper. Alright, it's time for some defense. Nothing can go wrong with the JTF by my side. As you probably might expect by now, we have ourselves a named enemy to kill, Captain Foley, another leader within the LMB hierarchy. Dude just likes to spray down with his machine gun, so I need to place my sniper shots carefully. And oh my god, he dropped my first real natural purple. Dude, thank you so much. The LMB dips and falls back to their headquarters. Completing this mission takes us right up to level 27. So close, I can almost taste it. At this point, I've completed all 5 missions in the security branch, all 5 in the tech branch, but only 4 in the medical. So let's get ready to wrap this story up. Before we do that, let's pay Benitez a visit. He gives us a quick status update. The city is slowly but surely starting to feel safer as all the work we've done to push back against the bad guys is actually working. Well, we're almost at the end of the story and I'm ready to head over to the Russian consulate. Interestingly enough, the safe house we're going to has an XP reward waiting for me. This is enough to take me to level 27, exactly what I needed. Let's go and knock out the next main mission, shall we? Okay, this mission requires a bit of setup. A virologist named Vitaly Chernenko is holed up at the consulate. He is a known contact of Amherst, the same dude who released the virus. Our job is to find him and extract him. Sounds simple enough, I guess. The LMB is here as well, likely trying to do the same thing for one reason or another. The mission itself is quite long. First I had to take out some LMB members, then I had to take out some more LMB members. Eventually I made it to the server room where we tried to access Vitaly's data. This is easier said than done because this wave-based section kicked my ass. Honestly, I had no idea this game was as difficult as it turned out to be, but hey, I'm not one to back down from a challenge. We get the data and head over to the panic room. This is where the dude apparently is holed up. Over the comms, we hear something interesting. A first wave division agent who goes by Hornet. He seems to be working with the LMB. We eliminate some more LMB bad guys and eventually get to talk to the virologist. It's funny to me that our main character doesn't have a voice. So instead, Jessica Candle does the talking. The panic room gets breached and Hornet somehow makes off with him. Talk about speed. I see why they call him Hornet. Hornet makes a call to Aaron Keener, another first wave division agent who has gone rogue. Keener is a character we'll be seeing again in the Division 2. Hornet asks for permission to engage us, and thus it's time for us to fight yet another rogue agent. The fight itself isn't particularly hard, just a lot of dodging nades and poking out for headshots when the moment calls for it. With the data extracted, Dr. Kendall can learn quite a bit about the virus, specifically that the virus itself was genetically engineered. It was man-made. Unfortunately, the virologist that we were after is now missing. Great. Anyway, Hornet drops us some purples, which are immediately useful as the knee pads bump up my stamina quite a bit. Maybe I can survive longer now that the game is basically over. Well, that's the end of the medical branch. All branches are complete, but the game isn't actually quite over yet. We have one last mission to take care of. The final mission recommends that we be level 28. Thankfully, that's right around the corner for us. So let's set the final mission up here. The LMB are still a major problem with Colonel Bliss still around. We also learned that the LMB have the virologist that we tried to rescue in the previous mission. Our goal here is both to destroy the LMB's leadership and rescue that scientist. There is a lot at stake here. Before we head out, Dr. Kendall mentions that she's pretty much created a blueprint for the vaccine, though her capabilities are limited here in New York City, so I guess that'll be on hold for a moment. Before heading to the United Nations headquarters, I wanted to hit level 28 in order to comfortably handle the final mission, so I go off to complete some side missions. And I can't be any closer, can I? There we go. 28. Let's go ahead and get this final mission underway, shall we? A lot of this, as you might expect, involves killing LMB soldiers. How annoying is this guy with the machine gun? This final mission also asks that we disable a bunch of different automated turrets. It's impressive how much firepower the LMB has, isn't it? Alrighty, that's done. Time for another assault. These medic enemies are probably one of the most annoying. They drop these massive healing packs that radiate across a large area, healing any enemies nearby, so it's best to take them out first along with their med pack. We finally get a chance to talk to Keener. Well, not really, but there's an echo left behind that informs us of something important. Keener turned his back on the LMB and taken the virologist for himself. What he plans to do isn't exactly clear, but this is a huge stab in the back for the LMB. All their leverage is gone, and they're pretty much open for a full-on assault at this point. This particular echo features two additional bad guys, Raptor and Domino. They aren't exactly division agents, but we'll face them soon enough. Bliss is not too happy about the betrayal. Hey look, it's Raptor. Oh, and there goes Raptor. Oh hey look, it's Domino. And there goes Domino. Now it's time for the final showdown against Bliss. In this final segment, we quite literally have to fight a helicopter. Thankfully, we can use those automated turrets that we disabled at the beginning of the mission. This portion took me so damn long. I have no idea what the health pool of this helicopter was, but it had to be more than anything I've encountered so far. After quite a bit of time, down goes Bliss. My favorite part was getting a blue for completing the mission. Anyway, we've officially made it to the end game. First, let me grab all these purples. So that marks the end of the game. Well, at least the end of the story. It kind of just ends. There's no real payoff. Shoot down the heli and go on your merry way. Keener has abducted the scientists, which sets up some of the later expansions, but this is where the end game begins. And we're not quite level 30 yet, so we still have some work to do. Let's get to level 30, then we'll get into the real end game. By the way, I did get some nice loot for my effort, a new weapon, and some new armor which I'll be putting to use. The fastest way to level 30 will be exactly what I've already been doing, side missions and encounters. So let's fast forward a bit here. Here comes level 29, and here comes level 30. That's it, we've officially reached the endgame solo, but now we have a new goal. We need to hit World Tier 5 to officially mark our goal complete. What exactly is World Tier 5? Well, in the division, gear score takes over item level once you hit level 30. It's all about finding more and more powerful gear with the higher gear score associated with it. The higher the score, the more powerful the item. Each world tier has its own gear score requirement, so in order to get to tier 5, I need to hit a gear score of 256. This sounds harder than it actually is. The loot shower in the endgame is so insane that it won't take me too long to get there at all. Once you hit level 30, your reward for hitting the next level is a field proficiency cache. These are basically crates with a high powered loot item. It's also worth mentioning that at this point, all the gear that gets dropped is either going to be high end or a gear set item. Gear sets in the division are extremely powerful, and when running group content, it's crucial to make sure your gear makes sense. Unfortunately for me, I'm doing this solo, so it's not as important right now. Endgame in the division largely revolves around replaying missions on harder and harder difficulties, which in turn grants greater rewards. As part of my first activity in the endgame, I reran the Warren Gate power plant mission on hard, and while I was able to kill faster, I was still dying pretty quickly. Right now, my world tier is 1, but the rewards I get from this mission should start helping me out. So I make it to the end and I take out the boss, and he drops me 2 high-end pieces of loot. And I also get a reward for completing the mission. You'll notice that these items have a number associated with them. That's the gear score. Right now, I have a lowly gear score of 86. I need at least 182 to make it to tier 2. Now, I don't really feel like replaying more missions, and I did buy the season pass for $3, so I figured I'd do some of the endgame activities included in the DLC, such as the Underground. To access the DLC, I had to knock out the Secure Quarantine Center mission. I am really glad I did this mission anyway because I got some really good drops. For example, like this Scar L with a 175 gear score. Let me just strip these mods off my old weapon because this thing is going to help me shred for a while. We made it to the TOC. Here we can find a special equipment vendor who sells some really good stuff such as exotic weapons. So one of the DLCs included the Underground endgame activity. This thing is basically like a repeatable dungeon with various objectives. It culminates with a boss fight, and often the drops in this activity are really good, so I made this my main activity to go through the world tiers. Put it simply, I loved this activity. It's exactly something I would get addicted to, and I kind of did. As I was running through my first underground operation, 2 things happened. Firstly, I completed a daily, and this gave me a combat assignment cache, and I also leveled up my underground rank, which, as you might have guessed, also gives me a cache. Let's pop them open. Oh, and we get our first gear set item and 2 high-end items to go with it. These will be huge in pushing me towards tier 2. I'll just equip the holster for now. The gloves are dropping my stamina too much. Anyway, let's fast forward a bit and defeat this operations boss. 2 high-end drops, I'll take it. And there's a nice chest here with some extra loot. That's always nice. The new cache we got has some really high gear score items, like way better than anything I've been rocking. Yeah, I'll equip that armor. I still don't have enough for tier 2, but this vendor down here sells gear caches, so I ended up doing a bit of shopping. I really needed a new mask at this point, so the hope is that at least one of these new caches that I bought has a mask in it. And thankfully, the first one we opened did. This takes us up to 180, which opens up tier 2. With tier 2 unlocked, I decided to run another underground operation. God, I love this mode. I can do this all freaking day. This particular operation was timed, so the objectives do rotate as well. We neutralize this guy named Chicken, and he gives us a couple of drops, but this isn't enough to go to tier 3 yet. Thankfully, our underground level went up once again, and we got rewarded with another cache. But it's simply, the rewards from this one were massive. 250 and 240 scores respectively. Wow. Look at the DPS on that Scar H. Of course, I waste no time equipping both items. I also pay another visit to the special equipment vendor and buy myself a new holster rated at 247 and a backpack rated at 234. The combination of all these items is enough to take me to tier 3. Yep, we're at 205, and the requirement for tier 3 is 204. We just made the cut. Who's up for another underground run? That's a rhetorical question. Let's do it. In this particular run, I was chased down by these hunters, and for the life of me, I just could not kill them. Seriously, one of them dropped a med pack, and it was all over at that point. They were relentless, so I died. But that's okay because the underground now has checkpoints. I was definitely starting to feel the difficulty shift a bit in tier 3. I was dying a lot and found myself having to retreat quite a bit in order to survive. My gear just wasn't up to snuff, but it didn't matter because I was just going to keep trying anyway. The boss in this particular operation is a quick kill, and look at what he drops. 2 gear set items. What a guy, man. I complete the operation and I might just have enough gear to take me to tier 4. I was also rewarded with 3, yes, 3 underground caches. Let's pop these bad boys open. Yep, that'll be more than enough to get to tier 4. No better feeling than equipping items that are massive upgrades in this game. Seriously, it's just such a dopamine hit. I ended up not equipping all the new stuff because while the gear score was a nice upgrade, the actual stats weren't what I was looking for. Back to the vendor for 2 more gear set caches. Okay, looks like I'm at 219 now, still a bit away from tier 4, however I ended up giving in and equipping the gloves. This shot me up to 235 and more than enough to tackle tier 4. So we're almost at world tier 5. My goal is right around the corner, and if you've watched this long and you're not already subscribed, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel for more. I've been doing the underground stuff for quite a bit now, so I decided to switch it up. Let's head back up to the streets of New York City and do a supply drop mission. These supply drops are insane. Gold-plated enemies everywhere, large combat areas with rival factions all fighting for the same thing. Definitely one of the more fun activities. The rewards are also pretty nice. This new MP5 will be very beneficial. Alright, enough of that, I'm going back to the underground. For what it's worth, I'm really close to tier 5. One more run and I should be able to hit it. We kill this dude named Kano, and he drops us some really nice gear, but unfortunately the gear score is not high enough. But during the operation, I did knock out another daily for another combat assignment cache, and I also level up my underground rank. The new vest takes me up to 250, and the game allows me to go into world tier 5. And there it is, from level 1 all the way up to world tier 5, all by my lonesome. Honestly, I had so much fun in the Division 1. In fact, I finished recording this video and have gone back multiple times for more underground runs. If I had to do it again, however, I would definitely do it with some friends because these grindy sections do get a bit dull and the loot progression for the main story is kind of lackluster in my opinion. But the end game makes up for it quite a bit and it's something I enjoyed much more than I had ever expected. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more runs from 0 to Endgame in different games, let me know in the comments below and I'll see you all in the next one.